Hi, Avishai L. For those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who are going to be watching the replay, hopefully you do watch the replay if you don't catch this, because there's some valuable information that I think everybody could benefit from, especially now that you're home. Everybody's kind of isolated and in their homes and eating at home and probably eating more often. You want to make sure that you're eating things that are nutrient dense. So I wanted to talk about this topic of nutrient deficiencies and the role they play in stress. So let me know if you jump on here, if you could hear me, first of all. So the role that nutrient deficiencies play with stress. So I want to share my story about, I would say 4 years ago. Yeah, I want to say 4 years ago, I had my blood test taken. And on those blood tests, it showed blood tests and genetic testing. So on those blood tests, it showed that I was deficient in a lot of nutrients. And when I say nutrients, I'm talking about vitamins and minerals, the essentials that you need for your body. So I was deficient in a lot of them. And when you're nutrient deficient, your body can break down. So at this time where I was severely nutrient deficient, I was severely anemic, and I want to show you right here. This is actually what I take so I don't become anemic or anything like that. This is Pharaoh Shell by Dr. Furman. For those of you, can you see it? Perfect. This is Pharaoh Shell by Dr. Furman. This is iron. So I was low on everything. I was low on iron. I was low on vitamin B. I was low on so many different things. Someone give me a notification. I was low on so many different things, and my body just wasn't processing it. And at this time, my stomach was bloated. I was about, I want to say, what am I, 122, 123? Had to be about like 34 pounds overweight at this. No, 42 pounds overweight. It was like around 160, in the 160s. I think it was 168. So I was heavily overweight because my body was not digesting anything. It was just storing everything. I had leaky gut really bad at the time, severe inflammation, anemic. My blood levels were in the toilet. Okay. And this is what happens when you might feel healthy. I was talking about this on Instagram today. You might feel healthy, you might feel upbeat, but feeling is not knowing. Okay. So at the time, I didn't feel healthy. I could walk some, but I didn't feel healthy at the time. But some people do walk around feeling healthy, and healthy is not a feeling. And I actually did that 2 years prior to 4 years ago. So I would say 6 years ago, I felt healthy. And what I came to find out is even though I felt healthy, I was not healthy. And the way you want to measure if you are healthy, if you are getting all of your nutrients, and you want to take, so write this down if you jump on here, and drop me a comment below also if you want the blueprint for a lifestyle and nutrition. You want to write down to have your blood test taken, because while you might feel great, this is why sometimes people end up keeling over, and just out of nowhere you're like, oh, so and so, they just ran a marathon the other day, but they're gone. So this happens. This can happen, and I've seen this many times. I'm like, oh, they looked healthy, or this person was so healthy, or everyone will say, oh, they were so healthy, but they really weren't, because they were deficient in certain nutrients, or they weren't eating right for their body. So in relation to stress, there's different vitamins for stress. So there's a lot of people probably dealing with stress right now. And what happens is some of it can't be controlled. People don't know how to control stress. Many people don't know how to control stress. But what's actually happening is when you get stressed, you're depleting your body of nutrients. Okay? When you deplete your body of nutrients, your body's not absorbing anything. So you could have eaten, and this is why they say stress contributes to so many different illnesses, because it does cause you to be nutrient deficient. And vitamin B, especially, it causes you to be nutrient deficient. Magnesium causes you to be deficient in that because it's creating that chemical imbalance in the body where you're no longer you're not balanced. So when you're imbalanced, stress is occurring. That's stress on your body. Whenever there's an imbalance or some sort of inflammation or anything that occurs, maybe some trauma occurred, your body is out of balance and it's now in a stress state. When it's in a stress state, you get inflammation and it affects your mood. So for me, when I had all these genetic mutations and all these vitamin deficiencies, I was really, really out of it, like cranky, like would go from 0 to 100. And I can always tell when my blood levels were low. For those of you who don't know, I was having trouble with my blood. It was suspected that I had a blood cancer. And whenever you have that, you are deficient in certain, nutrients and things like that. My ferritin levels were extremely low. So this is why I take this. And I also have a history of anemia. So I make sure I take that. But I can always tell if it's low because I'm really cranky. It'll feel like my teeth are chattering and like my organs are really just going to yell. Like they just feel like screaming. And how that shows up, and I'm glad I brought that up because if you feel that way, your body does tell you, but we don't have the capacity to know what it wants us to give it. And this is why I work with people, because people don't know what nutrients they need. They don't know what foods contain these nutrients. So at any point, drop me a comment below if you want that blueprint, because it gives you actionable steps. And then the next step is going over what nutrients, building a solid foundation, basically building a solid nutritional foundation, because in order to achieve mental health and stress less, you should have a solid nutritional foundation. So there's a lot of people at home right now, and I know some people maybe can't afford to go to the store or afford to go here and afford to go there. I always say at least have some leafy greens in there. At least keep a bag of apples around. That's pretty cheap. Green beans, things like that. Get the basics. Don't go for the processed foods and think, oh, well, that bag of chips is inexpensive. It's nutrient deficient. So I want you to make this connection. If the food you're eating is nutrient deficient, you're going to be nutrient deficient. I'll say it again. If the food you're eating is nutrient deficient, you're going to be nutrient deficient if you eat that. As a matter of fact, certain foods do deplete you of your nutrients, okay? So for instance, if you're going to get that bag of chips or that, I don't know, Milky Way or M&Ms, those are calorically dense, and it's going to leave. Drop me a comment if you can relate to this. Don't you get shaky after you eat certain things like candies and chips? Why? Because your body is screaming for nutrients. And when you don't give it, it's going to be hungry. So this is where your leptin comes in. Now you're going to throw, if you keep doing this and doing this on a chronic basis, it's going to throw your leptin off, which regulates your system, regulates your body weight and your hunger levels. So you're going to throw that off. You're going to be hungry throughout the entire day. So this is why I always stress that the body likes homeostasis, because when it's in homeostasis, you feel happier, your cells feel happier, and all of that. A lot of people, even though I do recommend supplements, I especially recommend, and I just moved my website, but I am an affiliate with Dr. Furman, so I do get a commission, but I would not show you anything that I don't take, and it's gone. I have to re-up on it. But this has all the vitamins and minerals that you need. It's the Woman's Daily formula. I love the blueberries on the front. And it has key ingredients is vegan, vitamin D3, vitamins K2 and B12. If you lack vitamin D, how that's going to show up in your stress levels and in your mood, you're going to feel less confident. You're going to feel very, I guess, into yourself, depressed somewhat. And sometimes people, and this is also what I want to stress too, a lot of people are on stress medication. I'll go over more of the ingredients. I didn't forget. Medication for stress, medication for anxiety, medication for schizophrenia, medication for bipolar, all these medications. And like I said before, we still don't know the problem. Some of these illnesses are because people are deficient in certain in certain vitamins. For instance, if someone is deficient in what is it, vitamin B or folate, I want to say. I forgot that one. Bear with me. It's a vitamin B12. Your vitamin B12. Thank you. If you're deficient in vitamin B12 and say you want to be a mom or you're soon to be mom, but you're deficient, your baby has the opportunity to be birthed with birth defects. Sometimes people think, oh, my child just has a birth defect, and it's what you're eating. It's not even genetics. Genetics play a very small role. It's what you're eating. And this is why we see a lot of angry people, and some people you ask them, why are you so angry? I mean, some don't know, and it's probably because they eat a lot of Twizzlers. That's just I'm just kidding. But if you watch fast food, but it's true. If you watch or not watch, if you read Fast Food Genocide, you will see the correlation between foods and mental illness. So if you're struggling right now, and cake, that sponge cake that your grandmother gave you the recipe to, you can keep her recipe, but you might want to switch certain ingredients, like the butter, sugar, eggs, things that cause inflammation. Inflammation is always a sign of imbalance, okay? Your gut likes to not be inflamed, okay? And that's where the inflammation occurs. It always starts in the gut. So you want to make sure that at home, if you do buy a lot of boxed things or processed foods, looking at the front is not going to be your best bet, okay? And if you need someone to help you with that, that is in one of my it's in my program. It's the second module of my program where I show you exactly how to read the labels, because I think food label literacy is super, super important. So I noticed with myself, me being on a lot of hormone medications when I had endometriosis, my moods were so out of whack, especially the medications with the side effects, because I think the side effects were suicide and depression. And I would go from, and I'll do another live on the chemical imbalances, but I would go from feeling okay to feeling like I was in a dark place, and my happiness just went, and it was so overwhelming. And then along with that, I got hot flashes from it. So a lot of people are on medications with those side effects, and there's a lot of people taking things like beta blockers and things like that to help with stress. And my thing is, that's not dealing with the root cause. You're going to always have stress. Even though you're medicating it, your body is still feeling the chronic stress. The medication is a chronic stressor on the body. You want to focus more on, if you're on medication and you want to get off, it depends on the medication, but it is possible. You want to focus on the back of the boxes that you have and stay more in the produce aisle. And along with that, like I said, drop a comment below if you want my blueprint, because it will give you actionable steps to achieving the top 6 lifestyle and nutrition tips that you need. Okay? Actionable steps. It is a document. Okay? It's a document, actionable document. and it has steps that you take, strategically placed in order for you to take that. So when you're nutrient deficient, it can come out in stress, anger, depression. Also, environment plays a role with stress too, but it starts with the nutrients. And a lot of times when people are in a horrible environment, they tend to want to eat crappy foods, and it depletes your nutrients. Stress depletes your nutrients, and being nutrient deficient increases stress. So, what you want to take away from this is focus on the nutrient density of the foods, not the caloric density of your foods. For instance, if you're on a weight loss plan, like a Weight Watchers or someone's calorie tracking program, that's not an indication that you're healthy. Okay, that's just telling you how many calories you take. Whereas if you counted nutrients, you would get to satiation, which to me is intuitive. You're listening to your body, you're in tune with your body. Your body is saying, I don't need any more, I don't need any less. I thought I heard a noise. So that's one of the things I wanted to I swear I hear a noise coming from. I can't stand having noise while I'm on live. I really can't. It drives me up a wall. So that's number one. Make sure that you're not focusing on just the vitamins and minerals. You're not focusing on supplements. I got a little distracted. Make sure you're not focusing only on supplements. You're focusing on your nutrition. Okay, so these would be just in addition to that. Okay, and that's basically it. So hopefully this was helpful. Drop me a comment for my blueprint, and I will give you a copy of it in your personal messenger, private messenger. Okay, have a great one. And sorry if you could hear noise. I can't stand it. I really can't. Have a good one. Keeping my stress levels. Oh, I did want to mention, I forgot to mention, hold on. The DHA EPA. DHA EPA. Whenever you're stressed, this brings inflammation to your gut, and your brain are connected, okay? So you want to protect your mental health with DHA EPA. It has omega 3s. Okay, so DHA EPA, Women's Daily Vitamin is great, but you can't take these and continue to eat McDonald's and Denny's and Friendly's, okay? So you want to focus on your nutrition. And I will talk to you tomorrow.